Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Africa 360. In the run-up to the Zimbabwean general elections at the end of July, Africa 360 is taking an in-depth look at the dynamics that will make or break the democratic process in that country. Zimbabwe's ruling party, ZANU-PF, has been in power since that country's independence. But what was once Africa's breadbasket has been beset by social, economic, and indeed political woes as President Robert Mugabe refuses to loosen what appears to be his steely grip on power.
My name is Mordekai. I was born and bred in Zimbabwe in Chibi. And I would say one of the key things I always remember about myself is that I was born on the day that Robert Mugabe went into power on 18 April 1980. So I have never known any other president. Well, I've always believed that my life is intertwined with the day that Zimbabwe gained independence. But as for Mugabe as a person, especially when I know the people that I have seen dying, is not somebody that I would want to think to say he has got any positive influence in my life. There was a research job that I was doing there in Gweru. I was documenting the human rights violations that were being done on MDC people. That is when I was kidnapped. And I was beaten all night. So I was thrown in a police station, right? I stayed there during the day and it was so dark. The cell was so dark. It was so terribly dirty. You know, people had vomited on the floor, leaving stool and so forth, and I could feel maggots, you know, crawling on my body. And it was during the day. Up to now, I can't even sleep, you know, in a room with its light off because the nightmares continue coming. When I mention this, it's not that I feel like I'm a victim or I'm bitter about what happened. This is the character of ZANU-PF. This is the character of politics that they introduced in Zimbabwe.
As you can see from that insert, there are few subjects as divisive as politics in Zimbabwe. A short while ago, I spoke to Philip Chiyangwa, who is a successful entrepreneur and prospective parliamentary candidate, and a man who believes his personal success is directly linked to Mugabe's political success. Well, joining me now is none other than Zimbabwe's self-made business mogul and politician, Dr. Philip Chiyangwa. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa 360. You yourself, even at this stage, are making a re-entry back into politics.
Yes.
As an MP.
Yes.
Now, the challenge that I'm posing to you is that it appears that none of the political leadership in Zimbabwe, whether it has been President Robert Mugabe's ZANU-PF or the current government of national unity that includes elements of the MDC, have really been able to improve the lives of the people of Zimbabwe.
Yeah, this is the most important question that you have asked me. I must tell you that there are so many Zimbabweans willing to participate in politics. A lot of them also understand that politics is not just something that you wake up in the morning and tomorrow you are in a Mercedes-Benz, you are appointed a minister. You got to work with the grassroots. Yeah. You've got President Robert Mugabe, Vice President Joyce Mujuru, and then you've got ZANU-PF ministers, and they've got MDC ministers. Now, I'll be open and frank with you. All from Morgan Tsvangirai to all his ministers, neither of them has ever run a business that you can go back in Zimbabwe and find out they knew anything about money. That's one half of government, right? Coming in at a time when the whites have been asked to leave the farms. Now, you also have on the other half, the same ministers I've mentioned from Morgan Tsvangirai being without any knowledge of really solving issues in a practical manner.
But you could very well argue, Philip Chiyangwa, that when you look even on your side, the ZANU-PF side, there are not many ministers who've had a practical application of business, including the president himself, who was seized with the liberation struggle, not with business.
But let's look at it this way. there have been phases of success in Zimbabwe. The only time that the whites felt they would sabotage the economy was when the issue of land acquisition came into place.
But for the past 30 years,
no, you're talking let's break it down.
For the past 30 years, we've had a situation politically where we've had black Africans in power, in charge in Zimbabwe, but we haven't really seen the advances that you are talking about that we would like to see achieved in Zimbabwe.
I'm not saying that Zimbabweans have been successful in any sanctions infested economy. I'm not saying that. I personally has been on sanctions, American sanctions, since I went into parliament. The fact that I chose ZANU-PF as my party and I won a seat, I became a sanctions target to try and disempower me. I mean, which country has had such like Zimbabwe has had? Because there were so many whites who had to leave their farms. So the whites out there had to come after us.
But we come back yet again to this question, my initial question to you, which is, do you think the type of leadership in Zimbabwe exists?
Do you understand how many
promise? Do you understand that can live out the promise of emancipation, wealth to all, equality and freedom?
The argument which ZANU-PF has presented, it has subsisted, is that of the land reform, indigenization. They are there in the constitution. All parties have endorsed it, even in the referendum. Are you with me? I was trying to tell you.
But it hasn't worked for others other than Philip Chiyangwa. The point that I'm trying to say is that the majority of people in Zimbabwe don't appear to be in the same position as you are.
I want to say this so that we don't mislead the listening public about making money. You do not make money because somebody creates a certain way for you. This is a jungle. It's a beast fight. When you wake up in the morning, you could be a billionaire. And how many people have been specified, or rather have received the specification, or what you call it here, money laundering action from state, where they end up without any wealth? Many. I've seen it in the newspapers. Are you with me? Because of all sorts of things. Now, I'm saying you don't beg, ask, or get anybody to create an environment where you make money. You think you actually have to create that particular possibilities and grab the opportunity. You don't get somebody creating that for you.
Many thanks to Philip Chiyangwa for sharing with us there. Well, after the break, we bring you a new meaning to the saying, Bob's your uncle, as we speak to Politburo member and Robert Mugabe's nephew, Patrick Zhuwao.
Yes, Bob's my uncle.